you'll meet wonderful people if you do missionary work. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Maui. It can be anywhere. Even the Mexico trip. Our own church isn't the only church that goes to Mexico each year. We have partnered with other churches, and we meet these people. So it's a wonderful experience. Okay. I was born and raised in Coburg, in a lower middle-class family. And like I said, I went to church maybe 3 times a year. I have one older brother who actually lives here in Cavan, and then a younger sister who, I have no idea where she lives. She lives in Kingston now. She's going to Windsor. She's all over the place. Her husband's a police officer, so he's constantly traveling. I was, like I said, raised in Coburg. My father worked at the Boys Training School in Coburg. If you don't know what that is, it's an institute where they send young offenders who are too young to go to prison. So, I was raised with the constant threat of winding up in the boys' training school. I was a good boy growing up. So, for a long time, I thought that's all I had to be, was just a good person. But anyway, I'll get to that later. I went to university, and after that, I worked 4 years at McDonald's. That's a good university education for you. So I realized that was the end of the line for me in that career. I was actually the general manager of a store, but you can't go anywhere once you're a general manager other than to be a general manager for life. So I went back to college here in Peterborough, so Sanford. I lived in Coburg and commuted, and I got a degree or diploma in the IT world. I was a computer programmer, and that's where I worked for the next 20 years. I worked at various companies, mostly in Toronto, but my last job was in Bowmanville, and it was a great job. And I was there for probably close to 14 years, I guess it was. And when everybody remember the year 2000, the Y2K scare? Well, as a programmer, I knew that it wasn't just a scare, especially for programs, because everything was written with a 19 hard-coded, and everything had to be changed over to the 20. So I rewrote probably 30 programs for the company in Canada here, and we successfully went through Y2K without a hitch. Everything went fine. And the Americans came up in March and said, "Congratulations, Lee, you did a fantastic job. Oh, by the way, we're shutting down the plant because Mexico can do it cheaper." So, after about another 5 months of slowly closing the plant, 250 people lost their jobs. I was left with a golden handshake, which was appreciative, and I came to the conclusion, if I wanted a job, I had to go to Toronto. And there's no way I was heading back to Toronto after living in Peterborough and commuting down to Bowmanville. I wouldn't do that to my family. So I bought a couple of small apartments with the golden handshake I got, and then I still needed a career because that gave me a little income, but didn't satisfy me personally. So then I bought the kitchen company. If you don't know, I owned a kitchen company for almost 16 years. I just recently sold it. So I turned 61 last year, and whistle. Woo! My father died at the age of 61, and out of the 11 children in his side of the family, there was only one individual who lived beyond the age of 62. So his entire family died of heart attacks before the age of 62. So it got me thinking, I'm 61. I think I can retire. I'm stretching it. I'm really making it work one way or another to continue on. And my accountant says I can live to be about 78, and then the kids have to start looking after me. Anyway, my spiritual life began shortly after we moved to the Peterborough area. My oldest son, Jordan, was about 5, and we thought it would be 4 or 5, I can't remember. It was a good time to put him into soccer. Of course, that's what you have to do with kids, get them involved in sports and everything. So we went to Lang, because we lived out in the Keene area, and put him into this soccer area, which was a lot of fun. It was fun to watch these little kids all grouped together trying to kick the ball at the same time. Anyway, this gentle giant of a coach that was there and his beautiful wife talked to us, and we went there week after week and eventually got to know them. And one day this gentle giant said, "Summer's, here. Would you like to have a week off from the kids? And, you can bring them to this VBS that we're having at our church, and you can drop them off and have some time to yourself." I thought, well, that's a good idea. Get away from the kids a little bit. So I went to the church. Mr. Mike Peart and Bev, he was a gentle giant, met us at the door. We dropped the kids off, and then they said, we're a little short of volunteers. Could you help out? So we stayed. We didn't get the time off, but we got some wonderful fellowship. We met people here, and we just fell in love with everybody we met in the church. And so we said, we haven't been to church in a long time ourselves. Maybe we should start coming. So we started coming to church. And, and it was nice for the kids to learn a little bit about the Bible downstairs, and we learned a little bit, and the pastor was a fantastic speaker, and as are you. I like your sermons. I've only heard about 4, but they're good. And so Pastor Lloyd was a great speaker, and about a year and a half later, I gave my life to Jesus, and I was baptized and made a member of the church, and it was wonderful from that point on. Where am I? So over the years in the church, I volunteered wherever I could. I was a Sunday school teacher for a while. I was the treasurer of the church for 6 years. And like I said before, I went on as many mission trips as I could. My youngest son, Ryan, and I went to Mexico, but I went to Mexico first, and then the second year, Ryan and I went, and then I've been a third time, and been to Kenya. I was for a short while last year. I helped out with the youth, and I volunteered at the breakfast program over here at the school, which is very rewarding as well. So, and I mentioned that the church also went to Israel and Egypt, and if you can get to Israel. Israel is a wonderful, wonderful country, and it really brings you spiritually closer to the Bible and Jesus. I recommend that for everybody. It doesn't have to be a mission trip. It can just be like our trip was just more or less what would you call it? Sue. Educational trip, thank you. Yeah. Sue led the trip. She should lead another one. So it was always been my desire to do mission work when I retired and keep active after retirement. I don't want this body just to start to wither away. And so that led me to Maui and now to Ecuador. And it's not going to end there. So I thank you all for listening to my story, and I encourage you all to think about your own story, where it could lead you in the future. And like I said before, Maui is open to anybody that wants to go there. It's a wonderful place to start. If you want to do a long-term mission trip, it's a wonderful way to start. Okay? Thank you very much.